And hello everybody, this is Nordic, and welcome back to a Kerbal Space Program tutorial. Well, it's a tutorial for people like me who's not rocket science. Who's not a rocket scientist. For that you can go see Scotland Manley, for instance. He puts a lot of thought and effort into his old missions. It's pretty amazing. But anyway, I'm going to continue right along here and not ramble on. Sorry it took so long to get a video out, but I got sick. I got officially a man flu. So, you know, the sniffles, basically I'm dying. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'll see you in a few. Okay, and I am back, and we are in not the VAB, but the Science and Research facility, and you might, if you're following along closely, you might notice a little difference. I did unlock this node. You can get into orbit with just these parts, the very first ones, but it's kind of a pain on the you-know-what. So I did go ahead and unlock the general rocketry. That cost 20 science, and this is what I did to unlock it. Well, there you have it. I didn't have enough science, so I just took my little aircraft out and flew to some different biomes, or what you want to call it. And yeah, had just 20 science, unlocks that one. You get a little more useful parts, makes it a little easier, because this is not about struggling. This is about, as quickly and easily as possible, as the way I understand it. Anyways, the second thing I'm going to do before that, and if you followed along the previous video, you should have enough money. And granted, you're on normal difficulty. I have not. I just picked normal. And didn't do any changes, so you should have enough money. So right-click on your launch pad and purchase the upgrade. Because you can see right now, max vessel size 20 meters, 18 tons. That's not very heavy when you want to build a rocket. You can still do it, but it's a pain on the you-know-what. Anyway, so go ahead and purchase that. So now you have a little bigger. 140 tons. That's a little bit better. And also, you might want to think about upgrading this, but not. I barely have enough money to to build a rocket if I do that. So you only have 30 parts, so let's get to building a rocket with 30 parts and get that thing into orbit. And alright, we are back in the VAB, getting ready to build a rocket for orbit. And this is what I came up with for this design. Not the most efficient, but it'll do the job. Start out with your little command pod. I'm just going to use the MK1 because I'm used to it. This thing kind of freaks me out. Anyway, grab yourself a parachute. Don't forget that, because you are going to need to return back to Kerbal. And you should be all set. And you're going to need Decoupler right there. Well, I'm going to make this in quite a lot of stages. I might speed this up because it's a lot of the same parts, but the first thing I'm going to do is make that's just the T200 fuel tank. That's what I'm using. That's all I got. And one of these vectorable swivel engines. Perfect. Looking good. That's your orbital stage right here. So let me go ahead and fast forward this next part. Yeah. So more decouplers, and just enjoy and just try to follow along as closely as you can. It's pretty simple. It's the same parts. We're not going to use any other parts than what you see there. All right, and I'll be back when we do the staging. All right, and this is the spaceship I came up with. It's not very efficient, but it'll do the job. And you have the parts for it in very early stage. One thing left is to check your staging. Now I am going to do it. Some people like to fire all these three at once, and it usually works pretty good. But in this case, since we don't have any fuel lines, I'm going to go ahead and leave it just firing the two outermost engines first, and then I'm going to stage that and fire this rocket at the same time I stage those two. So I'm going to move number 6 here down into number 7. So you can see it'll decouple these outer ones and fire that engine at the same time without slowing us down. And just double check the next staging. That one's correct because it'll drop this part and then fire those engines. By this time I'm going to leave them separate because you may want to wait until you fire the engine, so I'm not going to fire them at the same time. That way you have control. This one is alright, and check out this engine fires and this decoupler and parachute. Sometimes the parachute is like that, with the same one. You don't want that. So what you can do is just add a new, push a little plus sign, add a new thing, and move the decoupler down to its own little part. Alright, but that's it, guys. Let's name this one first orbiter. Yes, sound it out. There we go. And go ahead and save that. It looks like a very nice rocket. So let's see how this thing fares out on the launch pad. And as you can see, you can click this little thing here. 29 parts. We're just under 30 parts. Very nice. All right. See you in a couple seconds. Okay, here we are on the launch pad, getting ready to launch into orbit for the first time in this career mode setting. So let's get right to it. Turn my SAS on, throttle to full, and double check your staging just to make sure it's correct. And yeah, and countdown in 3, 2. Hold on. One last thing. If you can see down here in our lower left, I've turned on my fine-tune controls with caps lock because the rocket is quite wobbly without struts. So keep that in mind, and this is where a lot of people, you're probably not going to be able to fly this thing right away. It's just a matter of practice because it is wobbly at this stage of the game. It's difficult, and I apologize for the background noise. There is a ton of construction outside. I mean a ton. Anyways, so just pretend it's your rocket engine starting up, and also, okay, now I'm rambling. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, and go. And as you can see, I am starting to tilt ever so slightly because I want to get to that 45-degree angle just about the time I hit 10,000 meters. That's for some efficiency purposes. Because you do want a horizontal speed for orbit. Technical terms by Nordic. Alright, so just try to keep it within that little yellow, because that is the way you're heading, and when you're in the low, thicker part of the atmosphere, once your nose out of that little yellow area, you will lose control because the wind resistance and all that fun stuff. And I'm trying to keep it along the center line, but it's stage. Trying to keep it along the center line. Of course, you can see I kind of missed my target, but let's keep going. Keeping it at the front end of that, if you can call it the front end or the side, so we tilt rather fast. And now you can go ahead and go into your map view. Keep that up so you can we want to get over 70,000 meters. And you can also click this thing to keep an eye on your fuel. Of course, the sound is in the left ear when you're in the map view. I don't know why they never fixed that. Yeah. Okay, we're now at 60. 5, 6. Oh. Let's go ahead. Okay, we ran out of fuel in that stage. And fire. Okay, well that's good enough. Just above 70. And you can see with that horizontal speed, that little tilt, that means we get a nice little arc for orbit. Not there yet, but we'll get there. And now it's all about waiting. The waiting game. Getting closer to your apoapsis. You can keep it in this view and steer it, because you kind of know if you're... You can see your horizon. The brown is the planet. Blue is the sky. And you can tell we're not exactly on the 90, but it's okay. You're just trying to get into orbit for the first time, right? You want to get close. At this point, you don't, unless you've unlocked it, but you don't see your how far away you are from your apoapsis. But as long as you start burning before you cross it, because we're still going up. And I'm going to go ahead and hit full throttle with Z. And this is where I like to kind of steer it ever so slightly. Once this thing is going away from you, you steer down towards the ground. You can see it in your little reticle, and I'm actually steering it more and more towards the ground to not let that apoapsis go this way. And there's that noise again. Apologize. Okay, we're out of fuel. It's okay. Stage. And whoop. Full throttle. I said full throttle. There we go. And we are in orbit, everybody. 96, 78. Not the greatest orbit, but we are in orbit nonetheless, and we have enough fuel to return home. Right? Easy. And we are still in orbit, waiting for the sunrise from orbit. Beautiful, isn't it? There it is. Let's fast forward just a little bit. They did a really good job with this, I think. There we go. Which is awesome. We're just going to return back home. Of course, the idiot that I am, I didn't put any more science nodules on this thing, so I don't have any crew report to get up here. Hopefully you were awake enough to put that on there, but you can always launch more rockets. Since you've completed this mission, you got your money back. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and deorbit this guy. Try to see if there's any science to get in the reentry phase. Deorbiting is pretty easy. You can find your little heading, and you don't want to be going prograde, because that'll speed you up and take you to the moon. But fire backwards, and you'll see it with a little the same yellow thing, but it has a little cross in the middle of it, so that means you're heading backwards. And then just fire your rocket. Keep an eye on. You can right click on the little thing to keep it up there. Just keep an eye on your altitude, and I like to fire it just like a single click, so you can kind of slowly deorbit. Firing, burning, and I like to get down to about 24. Oh, you don't want to come in too steep, but 24 I found you can pretty much return from anywhere, and you won't go back out into space. And that's all we need to do for the burning. I like to point my rocket just straight north, like so, before I decouple, because it does give you a little bit of a thrust when you do that, and it could change your periapsis. And of course, face your rocket retrograde for reentry. And at this point, you can speed it up. You can time where you can use these or the greater and less than signs on your keyboard. And I like to speed it on up until you hit about 70. It'll stop your speed and face your rocket retro. At this point, since you don't have anything else on, you can turn off your SAS and let it just fall in, and you can do a little fast forward right here too. Look at Jeb, he's all happy. He's happy. He's gonna live. There's a crater. We would love to land on that. That would be amazing. It'll probably be a landing on land, but it's okay. These capsules can take it. And we are zooming in, and we are in the atmosphere now. So stop the time warp. So I'm going to see if there's a crew report to get, and there is. So I'm going to keep that data, because they can't go on EVA yet, because you have to unlock that. And I think it's the administrative building. I'm not entirely sure in my memory, but we'll get that in the next tutorial, which is, by the way, is going to be how to do the flyby the moon mission in early missions, early career mode. I mean, yeah, I can't talk. I never can. Anyway, so let's go ahead and speed it up a little bit again. And we are really cooking. It's okay. From a low orbit, you don't need the heat shield. You're gonna be just fine. I'm stuttering today too. I had too much coffee. Okay. slow it on up and wait till your thing is yellow or gray. The little parachute icon on your left hand side in your staging. Landing in the desert. Poor Jeb. We got the moonrise. Yeah, see, it's yellow. Now you can just pop your shoots. And now you can fast forward. You know, it is a game about a lot of waiting for timing, waiting for you to fall, waiting for you to climb. Well, fast forward is a good feature, especially if you're like me and don't have a whole lot of time. Okay, we're close to the ground. You can see our shadow. I like to, because I've been playing this since the early alpha, I like to not fast forward while the shoots are going to pop, but it doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. But before, it used to just rip your shoots right off, so I always stop it right before the ground and right before the shoots pop, just out of habit. And pachunk, and we are down. But since we're on the ground, and this is about getting science, we're going to get Jebediah on EVA. Grab an EVA report. We're also going to do the little trick I showed you in the first one, where you take the data out of your thing, then board, and you can do another report right here. So we get a little bit of science. It's not a whole bunch, but the best thing is when you recover the vessel, yellow, 42 science, which is not bad for this stage of the game. And next, and the best thing is he gained a level, so he's got a star now. He's got a little more features in his piloting abilities, and we'll get to that next time. But yeah, that is going to do it for us this time. I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned some things and maybe learned what not to do. Like I said, I'm not a rocket science, so I'm just showing you how to play the game as a gamer and not sitting here with a calculator and all that fun stuff. The most important thing is to practice and practice flying. Like I said, you are going to crash this rocket many times. Most likely, unless you're a whiz. But anyways, that's going to do it for this time. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye-bye.